You wake to a memory that is not quite yours. The ghost of a sound your body remembers even though your mind has never heard it. A low, grinding roar, the blare of a horn, the dull ache of sitting still for hours while the day burned away around you. You open your eyes in the quiet of your home, the soft light rising beyond the glass, and the phantom noise fades, and you almost laugh at it. You have woken on the very edge of a change so complete that the people after you will struggle to believe it ever needed changing at all. Today, somewhere in this city, the last traffic jam in human history is about to end. You rise and move to the window, and the city appears in the pale morning light. It is a city caught between two ages, and you can see both of them at once. Below you, at ground level, the old roads still run, gray and wide, and along them sits a line of motionless vehicles packed tight, going nowhere. You recognize the sight from 1,000 inherited images, the frozen river of metal that defined the mornings of your ancestors. But above those stalled roads in the open air between the towers, something new is moving, quiet and effortless, a stream of craft gliding past one another without ever slowing. The future is already flowing overhead while the past sits trapped below. You step onto your terrace, and the air is cool and clean despite the idling machines far beneath, because most of the city long ago stopped fouling its own breath. You watch the stalled line below, and you understand what you are witnessing. This is the last of it. The very last roads where people still drove themselves, the final stretch where human hands still gripped wheels and human judgment still misjudged, are being closed today, given over at last to the quiet shared mind that already guides everything moving through the sky. After this morning, no one will ever sit trapped in stopped traffic again. A small craft drifts up to meet your terrace, silent as a held breath, and you step inside. It lifts you up and away from the stalled roads into the flowing current of the air, and you discover what the old world never could. There is no waiting here. The craft weaves through the open space between the towers, joined by countless others, none of them touching, none of them slowing, all of them moving as a single coordinated intelligence that shares every path between them. You watch the choreography of it, hundreds of vehicles flowing like water, and you understand that congestion was never really about too many people. It was about each machine fighting blindly for itself. Once they began to move as one, the jams simply could not form. The craft carries you down toward the ground, toward the last stalled road, and you discover what is happening there. The people in those final vehicles are not angry. They are stepping out, leaving the old machines behind, looking around with something like wonder as the last cars they will ever drive are gently guided away. Where the road once ran, work has already begun to tear up the gray and let the earth breathe again. You realize you are watching not just an ending, but a reclaiming, the moment a wound that ran through every city in the world finally begins to close. You walk a little way along the edge of the old road, and you pass children who have come to watch. They do not understand what they are seeing, not really. To them, the stalled cars are a curiosity, a strange relic, and you hear one ask why anyone would ever sit still in a box going nowhere. A patient voice answers, explaining how it used to be, how people once lost years of their lives this way, and you watch the child's face fill with bafflement. You understand then that this is the true victory. Not that the jams ended, but that the next generation will find it almost impossible to imagine they ever happened. You move on, and you begin to notice what the city is becoming as the roads disappear. Where the gray ribbons are torn up, gardens are already spreading, green pushing into spaces that held only metal and exhaust for centuries. The ground level, freed from the machines, is becoming a place for people again, for walking and gathering and growing things. You realize how much the old world surrendered to its roads without ever questioning it, how much land and air and time it simply handed over, and how much of it is now being given back. If this turning point is stirring something in you, a sense of the small revolutions that quietly remake the world, take a moment to subscribe and journey onward with us. Every future we explore together is a reminder of what we are still capable of fixing. The more of us who imagine it, the closer it comes. Now, let the journey continue. You rise into the air once more, and the craft carries you high above the city, and from this height, you understand the full meaning of the day. Across the whole sprawling city, you can see the old roads emptying one by one, the last stalled lines dissolving, and everywhere they vanish, green begins to rise in their place. The city that for so long was carved into pieces by its own traffic is beginning, this very morning, to heal into something whole. And you realize this is happening not only here, but in every city on Earth. The same quiet ending unfolding across the world on the same historic day. The craft carries you over a place where the freed land has already become parkland, where families walk beneath young trees on ground that held a 6-lane road only a season ago. You watch them, and you understand what the hours once lost to traffic will become. Time. Simple, ordinary time, handed back to billions of people. Hours that will go now to children and gardens and rest in one another, instead of to sitting still and going nowhere. You descend as the day softens toward evening, and the city begins to glow warm and golden, and where the last jam ended this morning, people have gathered to mark it. There is no grand ceremony, only a quiet, easy joy. People standing on freshly opened ground that will never again be a road, watching the silent craft flow through the sky above, and you notice the thing beneath it all. There is relief here. The deep collective exhale of a species setting down a burden it carried for so long it had forgotten it was heavy. You find a quiet place at the edge of the newly freed ground and sit, and around you, the lights of the city wake one by one. You watch a child stand where a road once ran, pointing up at the flowing rivers of light in the sky, asking how it all moves so smoothly. And you watch an elder who remembers the old jam's answer with a smile and a shake of the head. And it settles over you. The meaning of this day. None of it was inevitable. The endless traffic was not a law of nature, however much the old world treated it as one. It was a problem. Only ever a problem. And like every problem, it could be solved. Undone in the end by people who refused to accept that mornings had to be lost, and air had to be fouled, and cities had to be carved apart. Today, that solving reached its final mile. You lean back as the city glows quietly around you, the last jam already fading into history. And a single thought stays with you beneath the flowing lights. This is what we became, when we stopped accepting an old misery simply because it was familiar. And quietly, somewhere within you, you understand that there are other miseries still waiting to be solved, and that we will solve them too.